Cameron Proctor here from Big Girl Bell Media. We're here with Amandla Stenberg from the
Hey,
hit
what's up?
series on Disney Plus, The
Hit
Acolyte.
series.
It's a hit already. I've been able to see the first two to three episodes. It's
Okay.
already there. I'm telling you right now. How are you doing today?
Good. Oh, well, now I'm just reeling that you called it a hit series.
Okay, well, I listen. It's gonna get that confirmation soon. So let me just be the first
I
to say
really
at this point.
appreciate that.
Hey, of course, credit where credit is due. So speaking of credit, we recently saw that Hayden Christensen kind of gave you the nod when you were checking out that iPad. What was take us through that? How did you feel when you got to get that, that royal signature of a Star Wars legend?
I was shaking.
We saw. we
You're like,
saw, we saw.
girl, we noticed. Um, I couldn't believe they did that. I also just couldn't believe they did that, that he knew who I was, that he knew that we had a show, that they took the time to film it. And then after all of doing these lovely things, that they decided to film my reaction, which is very embarrassing.
I think it was a very original, candid moment, and I mean, your emotions spoke volume of how serious and how important this role is to you. And it definitely showcases when you check out this series. Honestly, a lot of people are going to be not surprised, but very, very pleased with how well of a job you've done. I think, honestly.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, of
Thank you.
course, of course. And speaking of the role of playing two people, I know a lot of people have probably already asked this question about playing a twin. Was there any type of tenure or any type of correlation between your counterparts of Leah and Lauren Brady? Did you guys kind of correlate as far as how you're gonna work these characters into real life?
Oh, that's such a great question. You're the first person to ask that. Well, I actually was a part of Leia and Loren's casting process. So I flew out to LA. We read with a lot of sets of twins, which was just kind of the most ridiculous thing to do in the world. Like, okay, we're looking for baby twin versions of you. Like,
Right.
it's just it's a tall order, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and we read with a bunch of like lovely girls, and then we found Leia and Loren, and what we really just loved so much about them was how they played, like how they just wanted to play, and they played together in this way that was so beautiful, where they built this world together. And I just felt so I just loved them immediately as soon as I met them.
Yeah.
And I definitely thought about them often when I started constructing the characters, and I thought about the qualities that I saw in them, and that felt like a massive part of how I thought about my characters, both physically and emotionally. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's, I mean, the job that they do as well as yourself is I guess a well-aged process as far as within such a short period of time that you guys have to, create these 20 some odd years as far as life for these characters
Sure.
though, which I think is great.
Uh,
So my next question is, okay, you're not really a villain per se, right? Let me give or take in the middle, right?
sure.
So, and you really don't have that cadence that most dark villains have in Star Wars shows. Was there any type of direction given to you as far as what you should sound like, or did you kind of come up with that on your own?
That was totally up to me,
Okay.
which was kind of daunting
Hmm.
because I was like, Leslie, you're gonna have me say stuff like attack me with all your strength? And Leslie was like, yeah, go ahead, say it. I was like, okay, but how do you want, and she was like, it's up to you. This is all you right here, baby. And so no, I didn't have much direction. But you're right, May is not strictly Sith. She's not a Darth Lord.
Right. Right.
And so she does, there's not like any sort of like vocal effect on her. Um she really she's a young woman
Mhm.
with a really complicated past and a mission. um I thought about it often, like, did I in her construction, I thought, like, do I want her to be this sort of, I guess, traditional villain? And
Mhm.
I thought it was more interesting if she wasn't, if she had uh if from the moment you meet her, even just through her initial fight sequences, if you understand that there must be some kind of much more complicated past here than, as opposed to, she's just a mysterious violent figure.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree with you. There's definitely It's such a classic, well, I would say different but classic Star Wars story, because within every Star Wars story there's conflict. And you can tell within May in this show. Which you, I mean, of course you do a great job doing. Um so also my final question here, if you had to only play one, what would you do? Would you do the Jedi or would you be a Sith if you had to choose between the two?
Sith all the way.
I knew, you know what? I knew you were going to say Sith, right? I saw your profile on Instagram and I saw this video that you did with Keem, and I was
Oh,
like, that's
yeah.
Sith. I was like, she's
Oh,
giving
and
Sith
that
right
has so
there.
major Sith.
That's major Sith vibe, and it looks so natural, but uh, such a phenomenal job. Like I said, thank you again. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today. Everybody at home, make sure you go check out Disney Plus's series, The Acolyte, starring Amandla Stenberg. Thank you so
Awesome
much for
so
taking the
much.
time.
Appreciate it.
Been a pleasure.